How did Ali Khamenei, a mid-ranking cleric with no claim to the highest religious authority, rise to become the most powerful man in Iran for nearly 4 decades? How did his status change from being exiled to being the highest leader in Iran? And how did a revolutionary figure who once opposed an authoritarian monarchy later presided over a system that restricted press freedom and suppressed protests? This video will deep dive into the life and government of Ali Khamenei and his death following a joint US-Israeli strike in February 2025. Ali Khamenei was born on April 19, 1939, in Mashhad, a major religious city in northeastern Iran. His family was religious but not wealthy or elite. His father was a modest cleric, respected locally, but not among the upper echelon of Shia scholarship. From childhood, Khamenei was immersed in religious education. He studied theology first in Mashhad and later in Qom. It was in Qom that he encountered Ruhollah Khomeini, the cleric who would define his ideological path. Khomeini was already openly critical of Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi's modernization policies, which he believed undermined Islamic values and increased Western influence in Iran. He believed Khomeini's doctrine that a senior Islamic scholar should oversee governance to ensure it remains Islamic. Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, Iran was under the Shah's authoritarian rule. Opposition voices were suppressed by Savak, the regime's intelligence service. Khamenei joined underground networks opposing the monarchy. He delivered sermons criticizing the regime, distributed revolutionary materials, and was arrested multiple times. He spent periods in prison and internal exile. These experiences shaped his revolutionary credentials. When the monarchy eventually fell, those who had suffered under the Shah gained legitimacy in the new order. Khamenei was one of them. In 1979, the Iranian Revolution succeeded. The Shah fled. Khomeini returned from exile to massive crowds, and the Islamic Republic was born. Khamenei quickly became part of the inner revolutionary establishment. He served on the Revolutionary Council, became Deputy Defense Minister, and was appointed Tehran's Friday prayer leader. He also developed close relationships with the newly formed Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, an institution created to protect the revolution from internal and external threats. That relationship would later become central to his long-term survival. In 1981, amid political chaos and factional violence, Khamenei survived a bomb attack that severely injured his right arm. The assassination attempt elevated him symbolically. He became seen as a wounded survivor of the revolutionary struggle. Later that same year, after the assassination of President Mohammad Ali Rajai, Khamenei was elected president of Iran. At that time, however, the presidency was not the ultimate seat of power. The true authority remained with Supreme Leader Khomeini. Khamenei served as president from 1981 to 1989 during the devastating Iran-Iraq War. The war was brutal and costly, but it also solidified revolutionary institutions. As president, Khamenei strengthened ties with military commanders and reinforced relationships with hardline factions. He did not dominate policy. Khomeini still set the ideological direction. But Khamenei gained administrative experience and, more importantly, political alliances. The turning point came in 1989 when Khomeini died. Iran faced a leadership vacuum. According to the constitution at the time, the supreme leader had to be a grand Ayatollah, a top-ranking cleric, recognized for deep religious scholarship. Khamenei was not one. His religious rank was considered relatively modest, yet the assembly of experts, the clerical body responsible for selecting the next leader, chose him. Why? Several reasons converged. He was a loyal revolutionary insider. He had presidential experience, he had strong ties to the military and security apparatus. And perhaps most importantly, he was seen as someone who could be managed by powerful political figures who did not want another towering authority like Khomeini. Shortly after his appointment, the constitution was amended to remove the requirement that the supreme leader be a grand Ayatollah. Only after becoming leader was Khamenei elevated in clerical status. At the beginning of his tenure, many observers believed he would be weak, but over time he consolidated authority systematically. Khamenei gradually filled key institutions with loyalists. the IRGC expanded, not only militarily but economically, gaining control of major sectors of Iran's economy. This strengthened the security state while tying powerful interests to his leadership. His rule, however, was not without major controversy. Throughout his decades as supreme leader, Iran witnessed repeated clashes between reformist movements and the state. During the presidency of Mohammad Khatami in the late 1990s and early 2000s, reformists pushed for greater press freedom and political openness. Many newspapers and reformist publications were eventually shut down by the judiciary. His government was accused of restricting independent journalism and limiting political competition. Tensions escalated dramatically after the disputed 2009 presidential election, which sparked the largest protests since the revolution, known as the Green Movement. Demonstrators accused the government of electoral manipulation and demanded political reforms. Security forces and state institutions responded with mass arrests, restrictions on media coverage, and the suppression of demonstrations. Human rights organizations and international observers criticized the crackdown, arguing that it severely limited political dissent and civil liberties. More than a decade later, Iran faced another wave of unrest in 2022. After the death of a young woman, Khamenei, in police custody, Khamenei was arrested by the Guidance Patrol on September 13, 2022, for allegedly violating Iran's mandatory hijab law by wearing her hijab improperly while visiting Tehran from Saqqez. According to eyewitnesses, she was severely beaten by Guidance Patrol officers and arrested. She later died in police custody. This triggered nationwide protests demanding social and political reforms. Demonstrations spread across many cities, with protesters criticizing government policies and restrictions. Authorities responded with massive arrests, internet restrictions, and security deployments to contain the unrest. Even years later, tensions between the state and sections of Iranian society continued. In the mid-2020s, protests periodically re-emerged over economic hardship, political freedoms, and the country's direction. These demonstrations reflected broader frustrations with inflation, sanctions, and governance, while authorities again emphasized stability and national security in responding to them. On the international stage, Khamenei maintained a firm stance against the influence of the United States and Israel, presenting Iran's foreign policy as resistance against external domination. Under his leadership, Iran expanded its alliances and regional influence across the Middle East. At the same time, international sanctions targeting Iran's nuclear program and regional activities placed heavy pressure on the country's economy, contributing to inflation, currency instability, and domestic frustration. His long rule entrenched authoritarian institutions, curtailed freedoms such as press independence and public protest, and limited political pluralism. Another major point of international tension during Khamenei's leadership centered on Iran's nuclear program. The United States, Israel, and several Western governments accused Iran of pursuing nuclear weapons capability, particularly after the collapse of the 2015 nuclear agreement. Iran was said to have expanded uranium enrichment and reduced cooperation with international inspectors after the deal began to unravel. Israeli officials in particular warned that Iran was moving closer to developing nuclear weapons capability, while the United States repeatedly called for stricter monitoring and limits on Iran's nuclear activities. Iranian authorities strongly rejected these accusations. Leaders including Ali Khamenei maintained that Iran's nuclear program was intended solely for peaceful purposes. In early 2026, Ali Khamenei's decades-long rule came to a dramatic end. On February 28, 2026, he was assassinated at the age of 86 during a large-scale military strike carried out by the United States and Israel, targeting key Iranian leadership and strategic sites. Iranian state media later confirmed his death, marking the first time since the 1979 revolution that Iran suddenly lost its supreme leader through external military action.